that. It's incredibly unfortunate. What about that interaction, perhaps, in your own words, has left you feeling disappointed? Are you disappointed in him and how he handled the interview because of the position that he holds, or where's your disappointment stemming from?
Because of the public position that he has. And I'm very disappointed in the manner that he has responded and the language that he has used. For me, I did not expect that from him. I understand perhaps he might have some frustration for whatever reason because of the caller's behavior, but surely I did not expect that because of the position that he has. I was so disappointed on that side.
Look, I think that's very fair. I'll actually see if we're able to get that clip and maybe see my producers are looking at me like, no, we're not doing that. Okay.
I understand.
Mangikhuzeke ke, mangikhuzeke.
Yes, awukhuzeke. Nawujenela akakhuzeke.
All right,
Really,
Didi.
but thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Yeah, look, somebody did send me that clip, and it's just, I guess there's sometimes a defensiveness with public officials that is there, and yes, one can appreciate that they are not responsible for making sure that everybody does their work to perfection on a day-to-day basis, right? Because there are different tiers and levels of leadership and management that are entrusted with certain responsibilities. But it doesn't mean that you are absolved from giving answers. It doesn't mean that you're absolved from being asked questions. And as a leader, you've got to take responsibility. It's not personal. And it is never personal. When people are angry, they're speaking out of the frustration of what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I do always think that, when you're in leadership, you've got to rise up, right? You've got to be above the noise, above the fights. You can't meet some of the emotions at the level at which, perhaps they've been expressed. Why? Because you are in a position of leadership, and that requires that you've got to rise up above it all. Yeah, so it is unfortunate. I agree with you, Didi. JCK, you're in Musina. Good morning.
Hi, Jessica. Are you well?
Good, JCK.
Jessica, there's nothing untoward what General Mkhwanazi said vis-a-vis the unions. It's not a tense match. People, we must be cautious. Let me tell you, Jessica, a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. For some years, for example, let me give you a typical example, Jessica. You workers of the SABC, you said you want 10%. I'm the general manager or CEO, whatever you can call me. I said, no, I won't give you 10%. I can give you 5%. You keep on saying, 10%. Then I said to you, if I give you 10%, which means I'm going to retrench some of the workers. You understand where he was going to? Because most of the factories or firms are closed down because of the unions. You reach rock bottom. Then the owners of that company tells you that, I want to give you 10%, I'll give you 6%. I mean, to save jobs. You have to save jobs. Then just go for it. Because half a loaf is better than none. That is what I'm trying to say. There's nothing wrong with what Mkhwanazi said. The only thing, the union now are not working for the people. Remember, if, for example, SABC is a private company, and then it closes down, what is going to happen? But when it does continue with you working, you get 5% or 6%, it's better. Children are going to eat at home.
Yeah,
look, the fault there?
JCK, this is an interesting one because the context of the SAPS is also one of an institution that to a large extent has been defunded over the last couple of years, actually over the last 10 years. And the research into that, when we look at the budget allocation, speaks for itself. So if you're factoring in inflation and you're factoring in how much the allocation has been, there has been no real increase in what money is being put into the SAPS. Instead, what we see is that the bulk, a huge chunk of the budget goes towards your VIP protection, etc., etc. So how do you expect...
That much I understand.
Yes. So how do you expect an ordinary police officer who has taken on the job, and we know that it's not like our policemen and women are necessarily the best paid the world over. They're not. They really are not. And so we have to be honest about some of these conversations. If these are the people that we are expecting to protect us, if these are the people that we are expecting to stand up and not take bribes, right, and not put themselves in compromised positions, then we also have to see how they're compensated. Now, I'm not saying that police officers not getting paid enough justifies the corruption, justifies them taking money. But, I mean, the situation has gotten bad. I drive around Johannesburg sometimes, and you'll get pulled over at roadblocks, and you have police officers just asking you for money. They ask you for 20 rand, ask you for 50 rand, ask you for 100 rand, and you just you ask yourself, well, what is actually going on? There clearly is a much bigger problem in how they're being compensated than perhaps we are allowing ourselves permission to see. So the unions must fight for the rights of the members, and there must be an honest conversation about how our officers are compensated.
Yeah, I'm also, it's a two-way traffic. I understand that they must get a living wage. Of course, everybody deserves a living wage. I understand you. Okay, just have a naked last year and look after yourself and the people around you.
All right, JCK. Sure. Yeah, thanks for calling in. Yeah, and the reality is that, of course, management, as is in every organization, theirs is to protect the bottom line, right? But if these officers are sitting there, and it's not like the money is not there, it's just going elsewhere. Because, the VIP protection gets more money than what they do. It also sends a message, right? It sends a message to them. Malwela, you're in Polokwane. Good morning.
Cathy, I know you are well, but I'm not well, Cathy.
What's wrong?
The other day you hosted a show on death penalty. You had the three guests there. So it was very interesting show, and it was a great show. But at the end of that show, you said something like you are not convinced that the death penalty would work or it would be a deterrent. So I have an issue with it because I am pro death penalty. I'm pro death penalty because one of your guests there put it very well that, you know what, this death penalty, if we have to implement it, we then have to select the categories of crimes. Like if you just steal a cattle, no, that does not deserve a death penalty. But if you plan and then you premeditate and then you go and kill someone, then you deserve a death penalty. And we've got examples where people, they just plan and they go and kill people. And the crime now here in South Africa is so rampant and then it pays. Because people, they don't mind to plan and say, we're going to kill Cathy. So, and remember, they've already calculated these people. They're very smart. They calculated, they say, okay, chances are that I will get away with it. But what happens if I don't get away with it? If I don't get away with it, it means that I'll be sentenced, let's say, to life. Life is 25 years or 15 years, something like that, and there is parole. Then I'll get out. But let's say they knew. The other option is that let's say they knew that they were going, if they get caught, because even though police sometimes they don't catch people, but other times we know that they catch people, because we know, like, I can give one quick example or two examples of the killers of Cindy's Magaca, Mr. Magaca and Pomafon. Those killers, they are caught. Now, let's say there was a death penalty. That means those ones that were going to be killed. So the ones in the future who are planning to do a similar crime, they would know that even though the chances of getting caught are slim, but you might be caught. And what happened to the ones who were caught? They would know that they were killed. And I think that would work. And I'm just so frustrated why we're not now implementing the death penalty.
Malolo, if you remember coming out of that conversation, context became a central issue, because the current context that our criminal justice system finds itself in does not lend itself to what would be even a fair administration of the death penalty, were it to even be constitutional in the first place. And so, constitutionality aside, I think one of the things that the guests painted out very clearly was that implementing the death penalty does not take away the problems that we have with the criminal justice system. And in fact, those would only perpetuate the potential injustice of ultimately then taking people's lives.
Can I come in there again, Cathy?
Very quickly, please.
Yeah, quickly. I'm still convinced that when it comes to the justice system or the Constitution, those things we can change, we can amend the Constitution. But what I'm saying is, criminals, they already know that the harsh punishment, okay, to give, let's say, DJ somebody, to kill DJ somebody, they already know the harsh punishment. Why don't we get it that the harsh punishment is to kill a criminal who killed somebody? They already know. If they want to eliminate Manuela, if I'm a problem, and they say now we want to punish Manuela, they will kill me. So they are afraid of death, and that's why they implement it. And they don't hesitate. But we hesitate. That's why I'm having a frustration. Okay. But anyway, with the national dialogue and other things, we will participate, and we want to know why this is not done. If I were to meet Ramaphosa, I would really say, but why don't you do something?
All right, Manuela.
But anyway,
we're going to have to leave it there. Tune in to part 2 of that death penalty discussion. Next week, we'll be in conversation with Justice Edwin Cameron. That will be on Wednesday on Citizens Corner between 10 and 11. Let's take you to the latest headlines.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, Eastern Cape Police have confirmed that a 17-year-old learner has been arrested for attempted murder and robbery in Alice. It's alleged the suspect attacked a 16-year-old fellow student inside the premises of a school. 2 suspected criminals have been killed and a third injured in a mob justice incident at Gamasimula in the Sekhukhune district in Limpopo. And the South African Reserve Bank has applied to the High Court for an order to liquidate Tutsibotla Primary Savings and Credit Cooperative Bank Limited, situated in Lichtenburg in the northwest. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
When you're smiling. On 19th September, wear your favorite socks to school or work and help spread smiles to children across South Africa. The sun comes shining through. Get your Socks for Smile sticker today at smilefoundation.co.za, because every sticker helps fund life-changing surgeries for children in need. Smile Foundation. This is an SABC-supported initiative.
We plan for vacations, retirement, and even tonight's dinner. But do we plan for our health? It's how we protect our family's future. So who are you staying healthy for? And how can you protect their future? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding life with health checks and extra rewards. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guardrisk Life, a licensed life insurer FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
The Springboks return to the pitch in search of revenge. But the Wallabies want to continue where they left off last weekend. Which green and gold between the two nations will walk away victors? This is the Rugby Championship. Witness global class rugby action. South Africa versus Australia on Saturday, 23 August at 5:10 in the afternoon. Live on SABC radio stations. All SABC radio stations are also available on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good morning, Sis Cathy. This is Mbongo Sundisa. Sis Cathy, did you hear Deputy Minister of Defense, General Bandu Olomisa, when he was speaking to Kakasi FM presenter, where he was telling him to go to hell? He said these old Matalas must go to their homes, take pension, enjoy, chill with your grandchildren. We are tired of these Matalas now. They are losing the cool now. They are losing it. They're getting angry, irritated. No, man. Stay away from Parliament. Enjoy your last days. Enjoy your pension. They don't want to retire. And young people are in need of jobs. They're busy occupying them. Jesus Christ, retire and leave Parliament.
Ausket, good morning. It's Kosnadi speaking here, the truck driver. Look, my sister, you see, here in South Africa, people are hungry and they are not working. Only to find that there are too much companies that are not working. More especially in Hammanskraal, East London, Chamdo, many places, man, where companies are left like that. So if the government of the ANC and their cabinet, they are serious about people being working, why they don't go there and rescue those companies? Why?
Good morning, Katie. I just like to talk about this thing of Lotto. It's Anonymous from Kabech. Really, you can see these numbers are computerized. That's why the Lotto is the monies keep on accumulating. There's no one who's winning this Lotto. In the millions and millions of people in South Africa, but they don't win this Lotto. If maybe it can go back to the olden days where we see someone that is pressing the numbers and then we see the numbers that are going down, not this thing of plastic computer that is the...
Morning, Kathy. We support Dudula, please. Our country is very much congested and we have limited resources. Therefore, we cannot afford to share any limited resources with foreign nationals, regardless of whether they are illegal or legal. Unfortunately, you cannot share everything with them over here.
All right, thanks for those WhatsApp voice notes. It's still the open line, your national roundtable. I'm taking your calls on 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial, 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. Bonakele, you in Cape Town. Good morning.
Very good morning, Cathy. How are you doing?
Well, thank you, sir. What do you want to talk about this morning?
Look, I'm not. I don't know whether I must use the word to say the unfortunate statement made by other people, regarding of an incident that happened in Philippi. Remember those DA members were robbed there. But fortunately enough, I think one of the 16-year-old is amongst those who have been arrested regarding that attack. But the unfortunate thing that I want to talk about, because I listen to different radio stations, I'm calling it unfortunate because for me personally, I cannot really wish someone, if so and so has been attacked, and then I would say it should have happened to so and so. How on earth can people say they wish it was ANC members who have been attacked? How can you say something like that? I'm talking about grown-up people, man, talking on radio, saying bad things like that. Can you wish someone to be attacked even if you hate him? Or someone to die or be attacked? What is that? We know crime rate is very high, irrespective where we stay. It happens to us. We stay in these townships, so the rate of crime is very high. But how on earth can someone come on radio and say, yes, so that they can learn or this and this? They must, they must experience what we're experiencing. I mean, for me, that's really uncalled for people to come on radio and say things like that. And especially when it comes to ANC, I listen to many of them talking about it. They wish it could have happened to ANC members. I mean, abantu careless, if I may put it in Xhosa, careless. I don't know this hatred. Why people hate people so much?
And I was going to ask you, Bonakele, what do you think that reveals about us and about our society?
Our society they're very angry, irrespective of services that we don't get, whatever. For instance, I will tell you one thing. For me personally, I'll stand by my point. ANC has done a lot, but there's a lot that needs to be done. Not everything that we have been promised is up to scratch, you understand? But you cannot say things like that. You understand what I'm trying to say? You get my point? Because people will come and say, yeah, this should have happened to them. Look, they've got bodyguards and all that stuff. Those are reckless statements and whatever comments, so to speak.
I hear you, Bonakele.
Come again?
I said I hear you.
Absolutely. Abantu babayeka ukucaphukela abanye abantu kakhulu as a result babanqenelele izinto ezimbi. Make baphucuke ukucinga. Ngithetha ngeSixhosa ngesibomvu. Enkosi, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bonakele. Yeah, and I guess we have to have some lines, right, that we say that these are the lines that we won't cross as a society when it comes to the moral, the ethical, and even the value system that we want to create and want to see for ourselves. And understand what Bonakele is saying, to openly wish ill and harm about other people in that way, regardless of what you might think about them, because these are still human beings. They're still mothers, they're still fathers, that's still somebody's child. Are there lines that, in spite of all of that, we can still see the humanity? Or has all of that been sucked out, that actually we think some people don't deserve to live? And that's part of what is wrong with our society. It's probably why the murder rate is so high. Because you disagree with somebody at work over work processes, i.e. in the accounts and the finance department, and then tomorrow you are dead. Right? It's part of our thinking, our psychology. And Bonakele, I think you've said something really important for us to think about and to reflect on. Khotso, you're in Midrand. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Cathy, and morning to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Before I get into my issue, let me tell you with Bonakele. Yeah, Bonakele is just maybe Bonakele is I take it an adult, but is still living in a dreamland and highly naive. South Africans, Cathy, all over, whether you're in township, in a village, in a suburb, they're under siege. People are dying on a daily basis. And for them to be under siege, some of the solution they have it. They say, for example, let's deal with the issue of these illegal foreigners who are here in South Africa, who are killing us, who are raping us, who are getting electricity for free, who are getting SASA for free, who are here illegal. In fact, those people are criminals. In short, in law, these people are criminals. But according to this ANC or DA and this madness of the EFF, they will tell you, no, African brothers, this, African this. No, South Africa is not a lawless state. So that is why, maybe till maybe the other time, then it hits him. Then you will know why these people are so angry. You will understand where does this anger coming from. Do you think these political leaders within the ANC, the DA, and that matter EFF, they don't know the level of crime? Do you think they're so stupid to an extent they don't see how people are being murdered, people are being raped, people are being sold these drugs on a daily basis? No, they know. So people are angry. That's why they say no. Maybe if it affects one of them, it will quickly send a message. That's what I needed to
do you genuinely believe that they are unaffected? Again,
No,
if we go back to where we started off with DD, who was raising the issue of the police salaries, and what we know is allocated to VIP protection, that by and large will go towards officials appointed, in various portfolios in different offices. I don't think it's a case of not knowing. I think, members of the ANC who hold public office also, they know the threat that South Africans live with on a day-to-day, because they live in this country too.
Yeah, Mara, what are they doing?
That's the question.
You're right. Perfect. They know what is happening. They see people are dying. And the worst of them all, you are going to find them sitting there in the front seat at the funerals, talking as if they are holier than thou. So that's why these people are so angry. That's why these people, they hate the ANC with passion. They don't want anything to do with the DA, the ANC, including the very same useless EFF. Why? It's because they're angry. Because when you tell them, you see, the sad part about the South African politics, these people, they live in their own world. Then the South African masses, they live there separately. Because you tell them this, they will do this. Take this issue of the national dialogue. People, they've talked all over, in radios, in newspapers and social media. They don't want this thing. They know, Cyril know that this thing, they don't want it. But what they do, they went there. And what's even said, like you can even feel like crying. You even see the bishops are sitting there who are leading big churches. You ask yourself, with Kondi, what's happening here? What's happening here? Because these are real issues. These are real issues. To say, take that 700 million or whatever amount is there, put it, that's it, in other real issues of society. You don't want. So you want these people to come and say, no, we love ANC, we love DA. Oh, Molina, stop playing, guys.
But is there not a difference, Khotso, between expecting that people will express this love or allegiance or affiliation? Is there not a difference between that and intentionally wishing somebody harm?
No. The intention. Ask yourself, where does this thing come from, the hatred? And you are the one who have triggered that kind of a hatred. Because they see you every day, you are living that fleshy lifestyle. You take your Mtutu's manana, walking there every day on what's this, on Instagram on a daily basis with this other ministers there. They're fleshy, living their flashy lifestyle there. So do you think those people must understand? Sitting in their big villas, having swimming pools and gyming facilities. So you want these people to say, these people can hear us. We said, deal with this issue of crime, deal with this issue of illegal foreigners. Then they quickly have listened to them. No, they don't.
I take your point,
tell them this, the following morning, they come to you with that flashy lifestyle.
Okay, I take your point.
Take your Figil Mbalu. Do you think Figil Mbalu doesn't know what's happening? Because Figil Mbalu is the one who even swear some of these comrades, his fellow comrades. They know these people.
Okay. Khotso, we're going to have to leave it there with you for this morning. I'm going to take a break and then we'll continue with the rest of the callers that are standing by.
Luck could be on your side when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 69 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 26 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 43 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Call us on 086 000 2032.
All right, you're listening to the National Roundtable. It's your open line. I'm taking your calls on 086 000 2032, on the WhatsApp voice note line 0614 104 107. You can send your text messages on that line as well. And of course, on social media X, it's at SFM Radio, the hashtag the SFM Talking Point. John, you're in Davidton. Good morning.
Hello, Cathy. How are you?
Good, John. Go for it.
Yeah, Cathy, I think the biggest problem that we have in South Africa is we like quick solutions. The reason I'm saying that, Cathy, I don't know how much you are earning. If I were to give you, or if we had the power to ask from me, just for listening at you, to give you 1,000 or 500 or 20 rand, you will do so. So the question of police not earning enough money, that's why they're asking for money. It's totally ridiculous. We have got social workers. We have got teacher and an ex-principal myself. Do you think if I were to each and every help that I give your child or a parent to make them pay money and say I'm not earning, teachers as well as police or nurses are earning almost the same thing. But police are corrupt. They are so corrupt that for every little thing that they do for you, as if that is not their work, they ask for money. So when you say you are saying, maybe it's because they are not well compensated. That is not true. Actually, the more look at the issue of or maybe people who are in parliament, the previous minister of health, who looted money. It's greed, not lack of money. The more they get, the more they want. So can we really say police are not well compensated?
John?
Is that an argument?
John, I actually like the example that you used because you put in nurses and you put in teachers there. Does the same not hold, though, for those other sectors? And there has been an ongoing conversation around the fact that we simply are not giving our teachers, our nurses, a decent wage. And adding to that, they don't have the necessary support when it comes to the tools of trade that they need to actually do well in their professions.
Yes.
So the excellence that is there is in spite of the challenges. Is that not the situation we sit with as a country?
Yes, but I hear you saying, maybe I'm wrong. I hear saying that they are not well. Police are doing that because they are not well compensated.
No, I specifically explained, John, what I meant. Maybe you didn't understand me correctly, because I said, underpaid or not, it does not justify corruption.
Yes. And you know, the last caller who you spoke to, Cathy, that guy, I like him. He speaks so much truth. Look, the police, the reason why police are being killed is also because of their own corruption. Every lifetime, I drive around Benoni, Davidson, and Kempton Park. You see, they go to this scrapyard where they sell stolen coppers and all these other things. During lunch, they go there. They know that people are selling illegal, stolen goods to those people. They go to ask for lunch. And one of the scrapyard owner is sort of my friend. I know him. He's an Apotana. He gives them lunch money so that they don't check what is being sold there.
Yeah.
Every lunchtime. And you cannot say anything because they will kill you. This thing of national dialogue as if the government, why does not the government send people on camouflage and drive around without, for example, the problem of taxes? People who are killing people because they are giving people leave, even your family. Why don't these intelligent people drive when these people approach them and say, who are you taking? So that they get information. Why do we have to have a national dialogue for people, for information that is freely available to the government to know and how to approach them?
John?
I can even do their job without being paid if they appoint me to give them enough information.
Okay, John, let's leave it there. Sfiso, you're in Newcastle. Good morning.
Morning, how are you, Katie?
Good, Sfiso, go for it.
Hey, Katie, I'm pleading with the SA government again to reintroduce the death penalty because what is happening here in South Africa, Katie, is very, very painful.
Oh, so Sfiso, I'm going to ask you to try and pull over if you can, so that we can bring you back up on the line. That connection isn't great. While we do that, Fezile, you're in Cape Town. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Casey. In fact, the previous caller that was speaking on the issue about corruption and the wages that the police officers or the law enforcers are receiving, the connection between the two issues, how much they are getting paid, and how could that make them prone to engage in corrupt activities, is actually completely false and incorrect, and it's giving a very wrong impression. The example that he made about officials that are earning high salaries but end up being corrupt nonetheless is a proof of the fact that no matter how much they would get paid, whatever percentage of salary increase that they may receive would not necessarily get rid of corruption within the law enforcement. Because the issue that we're trying to address is a moral and ethics issue, and that cannot be addressed by finances or resources. It's a moral degeneration. That's what the issue is. The recruitment processes that law enforcement is using is the one that is failing to filter the corrupt mind, the corrupt individuals. They find their way into the system because those measures, if there are any for that matter, because those measures are not effective enough to keep away the criminal mind that will be easily influenced and engage in corrupt activities. And corruption is so much embedded in our law enforcement, so much that it's almost like a culture.
Yeah.
That even those that are raised in a proper way with high ethics, with high morals, that would not
take anything that does not belong to them, even if there's no one that will be able to see that, meaning that the chances of success are high. They still would not commit that. They get recruited into this culture, a very corrupt culture. So a lot needs to be done to get rid of those people that engage in corrupt activities. Yes, punishment in terms of losing your job and then you get incarcerated would deter some individuals, but not all.
Yeah.
But this is to say that reassessment of our police officials that are currently employed to check their moral principles, their moral guide, their ethics, and they root out those we find them to be failing. Almost like, the test that you write when you apply for some specific jobs in order to ascertain whether you are a right fit for a particular position.
Absolutely.
And we devise such kind of tests, basically, and all law enforcement officials, they take those tests. Those that fail, we find a way to process them out. Obviously, it will be phased in situation where we don't end up with a very low number of officials that are available to services.
Okay.
It will take time, yes, but eventually we'll be able to get rid of the rot, the bad apples. What I mean by that is the corrupt mind, the criminal mind. And then also...
Fezile, I'm going to need you to wrap it up soon, please.
Yes, so and also the very system will be used also to as a gatekeeper, basically, when we are recruiting new individuals into the police force.
It should be the best amongst us, effectively.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Fezile is out in Cape Town. Sfiso, we did try to get you back on the line, but I think you're driving in the part of a country where the connection is poor. Let's take the latest 10 o'clock news update.
In our top stories, Gauteng parents urged to act early for school placement offers, and Reserve Bank approaches court to liquidate Ditsobotla Bank. Good morning. Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona has urged parents to apply for school admission as early as possible to secure schools that are close to their homes. He was speaking at Eden Glen Primary School in Johannesburg, where Gauteng MEC for Education, Matome Chilwane, will today provide a comprehensive update on the 2026 online admissions application. Mabona also called on parents to submit or upload documents after applying for applications to be considered. He says the department's target for placements are 400,000 and they are close to achieving it.
Other people will wait for the last minute. They will come to our offices on the last day. Some will be in the system. You will see on the last day, because we'll be punting the messaging to say we are closing. And we've been saying that, counting down. So there will be an expectation really for parents that will come on the last day. The challenge is the documents. You need to make sure that after applying, you submit, or upload the documents. Because if you don't upload documents, then your application will not be considered.
Eastern Cape Police have confirmed a 17-year-old learner has been arrested for attempted murder and robbery in Alice. It's alleged the suspect attacked a 16-year-old fellow student inside the school premises on Tuesday morning, robbed him of his cell phone, cash and stabbed him in the neck. Police spokesperson Nobantu Kantana says it's further alleged that the suspect shoved the 16-year-old into a pit toilet where he was trapped overnight and found on Wednesday morning. She says the suspect was apprehended on Wednesday and made a brief court appearance.
The identified 17-year-old suspect was arrested on Wednesday, 20 August. He has been charged with attempted murder and robbery with a weapon other than a firearm. The suspect, who is also a minor, appeared before the Alice Magistrates Court on 21 August. The court has remanded him in custody at the John X. Merriman Juvenile Center. His next court appearance is scheduled for Monday, 25 August.
2 suspected criminals have been killed and a third injured in a mob justice incident at Kgamasemola in the Sekhukhune district in Limpopo. Police spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba confirmed that they died in hospital. Mashaba says the men were accused of burglary at a local store. Their identities have not yet been released. Mashaba says investigations are continuing.
The members of the police were alerted to a violent mob justice attack and the injured men were rushed to a local hospital. At about 6:30 in the evening, the police received confirmation that 2 of the victims, aged 29 and 34, had succumbed to their injuries. The third victim, aged 32, sustained severe injuries and remains in hospital under critical care. Preliminary investigations indicate that the victims were accused by community members of being involved in burglary at a local store.
The Johannesburg Regional Court will this morning deliver the bail judgment for the second accused in the case against 4 people accused of child abuse and attempted murder. The 4 are allegedly part of a viral video which shows a 4-year-old boy being instructed to light up and smoke what's believed to be drugs. Accused number 2 is the only one who applied for bail on Monday. The other 3, including the mother of the young boy, abandoned their bail application. Neria Tlakotsa reports.
According to the state, accused number 2 admitted to taking the video of the toddler being made to smoke what is believed to be drugs. It says the mother of the young boy also identified him. Meanwhile, his legal representative told the court that his client is not a flight risk and should not be punished for his previous conviction for drug possession. The state argued that releasing him on bail would disturb public peace and put his own life in danger.
The South African Reserve Bank has applied to the High Court for an order to liquidate its Sobotla Primary Savings and Credit Cooperative Bank Limited, situated in Lichtenburg in the northwest. This follows an earlier decision by the Minister of Finance based on the recommendations by the South African Reserve Bank to place the bank in resolution. Since then, an in-depth assessment was done which found the bank's financial position was significantly worse than previously reported. The resolution practitioner concluded that the bank is insolvent and identified significant compliance, governance and operational failures. The liquidation hearing is scheduled for next week. And finally, California's Democrat-controlled state legislature has passed a series of bills aimed at redrawing electoral districts to help the Democrats gain 5 more seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. This would counter similar moves in Texas, benefiting the Republicans. The BBC's David Willis has more.
The Republicans' slim majority in the House is expected to come under threat at next year's midterm elections. Unlike Texas, California's redistricting measures must first obtain voter approval in November. Otherwise known as gerrymandering, the battle between the country's 2 largest states is likely to draw other parts of the country into a growing row over partisan redistricting and attempts that are being made to redraw the country's political map.
Recapping the top story, Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona has urged parents to apply for school admissions as early as possible to secure schools that are close to their homes. He was speaking at Eden Glen Primary School in Johannesburg, where the Gauteng MEC for Education, Matome Chilwane, will today provide a comprehensive update on the 2026 online admissions application. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
After a 1-0 draw in the first leg, Masandawana chased victory in their own backyard. While defending champions, Amapagania believe nothing is as sweet as a win away from home. This is the MTN 8 second leg semi-final. Wafa wafa! Do not miss out on Mamelodi Sundowns versus Orlando Pirates this Saturday, 23 August at 2 p.m. Live on SABC 1 and SABC Plus. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Falcons of Jediani know how close they are to get to the semi-finals, but the Desert Foxes are confident nothing will stop them from getting to the last 4. This is the quarter-final battle of the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. So Sudan tackles Algeria this Saturday, 23 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Well, let me put this to you. What for you are the big takeouts of that significant White House meeting?
The significance was that the European leaders finally realized what is at stake. I mean, of course, this realization has been dawning gradually, but I think the fact that you had this roster of who is who in Europe coming to that meeting, it shows that they're very concerned that Donald Trump would be yielding to Vladimir Putin's demands at the expense of Ukraine's long-term, not just security, we're talking about its very sovereignty.
Peter Zalmayevsky, director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.2 FM in Table Mountain. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to The Talking Point. Welcome to the second hour of the show. It's 10 after 10 o'clock. Coming up in this hour, we'll be looking at the latest developments in the Free State, where the ANC in that province has decided to fire and to, redeploy, as it were, or to withdraw the deployment of various individuals that are mayors, that are speakers and chief whips. All this is in an effort to turn things around within various municipalities in the Free State. Well, why has it taken so long? That's one of the questions we'll be asking to the ANC Free State spokesperson. Before we get into it, though, let's listen to some of the WhatsApp voice notes from the open line.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good morning, Cathy. This is Makwara Shinyazo from Toyando. You know what, Cathy? We are living in a society that is torn apart. We are living in a society that is torn apart. People have lost their trust in their leaders. That's why people are so angry. That's why people are so angry. That's why people are so frustrated in a point that they may wish their leaders to get harmed. It is their way of expressing their frustration, because people are so angry. I agree with the caller there,
Good morning, Usketi and SAFM listeners. I'm very angry with the justice system that we have. They rob me of justice. I have 4 points in the verdict that is for me. 1 point goes against me. Yet I lose the case, and the respondent win the case. So the only reason that I can't appeal is because I don't have money. I went to the court and asked the court for the information of the judicial inspectorate. The court manager told me that he is not obliged to give me such information. So if the court manager can tell me that, how can I trust the justice system?
Cathy Mohlahlana, it is due in Durban, a very, very quick one regarding to the issue of death penalty. I do not think that by introducing the death penalty will overnight reduce the crime rates in South Africa. I think even though I support the idea of death penalty, I think that should be the last resort, and then we should not expect that by introducing it, the crime rate will go down overnight. I think what we need to focus on is to make sure that we capacitate the SAPS. We give SAPS more money, more resources, root out all the corruption which is taking place at them. Then, if we feel that at last, if we feel that for all the perpetrators of crime, they need to get an extra punishment, then you can introduce the death penalty. But we should never expect that that thing will reduce crime overnight.
Good morning, Cathy and the team. I want to say Lotto is the biggest scam in South Africa. Why they can't draw live and put people there and the balls like a soccer draw or a World Cup draw? You put a real balls there and leave this thing off this computer machine. No, Lotto is the biggest scam in South Africa. You must check it. Asanda Adu.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Cathy Mohlahlana is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
Well, we continue the conversation on the talking point, a decision made by the Provincial Executive Council of the ANC in the Free State this week to make wholesale changes to some of the distressed municipalities in that province. 7 mayors, speakers and chief whips were removed, are to be removed from their positions as a result of some of the mismanagement, corruption, lack of service delivery that is taking place. Thabo Mieko is the ANC Free State spokesperson and joins us on the line. Mr. Mieko, good morning to you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning, Cathy, and thanks for having us. Good morning as well to your listeners.
Talk to us about this decision that your party has made around withdrawing its deployment of these municipalities. Perhaps run us through which municipalities are affected and why it is you've taken this decision.
Cathy, let me start here because it is important in this context. Through our local government elections, the ANC has made many commitments. And the spirit that guided those commitments was that we're going to do things differently from the past periods, where in as much as there was service delivery, but there were many challenges that our people have raised, and we've also seen those challenges, the inability of municipalities to provide services to our people. It is historical, those issues have been there. And the ANC local government elections manifesto was essentially responding to those challenges. Some were subjective, some were structural, I would say. For better of a lack of words, I wanted to say objective challenges. In other words, you would have a municipality that has got serious challenges of the revenue base. In other words, unable to collect. And as a result, service delivery will suffer. Correct, national government provides allocation to municipalities. It's called MIT. And that's why then that MIT will be used to pay services and all of that instead of developmental issues like infrastructure and all of that. Now, you had those type of municipalities, and that issue also was taken into account. But the point I'm trying to drive at is that the election manifesto, we have made those commitments. Another example is that we said ANC councillors will address a community or public meeting every month. And it's something that we said we're not going to compromise on that this time around. So that our people are then being taken on board, are given answers where they've got questions, including feedback on whatever that municipality might have done. You can do something in this street, and you are unable to do it in that particular street. All of these things, suppose that they are contained in the IDPs of a municipality, because service delivery is on the basis of a particular financial year, given the fiscal capacity of the municipality and the challenges, and continuously attending to those challenges. Now, we made those commitments, and that's the first important baseline upon which we make this assessment. But I must say also, Cathy, that the January 8 of the ANC 2025 was very instructive, that part of our task as the ANC is to fix local government. It was very specific, because, as I said, it was appreciating those challenges. We've got subjective and objective challenges confronting our municipalities. I have a municipality in the Free State, for instance, called Kopano. And unemployment rates are extremely high. People are not working. That municipalities are unable to. There's no economy there. There's no businesses. The biggest employer there is government. Surely, the revenue levels are not going to be able to meet the demands of service delivery. And in itself, it will pose a challenge. Now, the January 8 says, given these challenges, our task this year is to ensure that the ANC leads effort. Everybody else, including our people, because
Mr. Meko, I don't think that people are unaware of the context of what has been happening in these municipalities. But I wanted to find out from you more specifically. Which municipalities?
Let me summarize this, Katie, by saying,
which municipalities are you intervening in, and why those specific municipalities?
Let me summarize my point, and I'll quickly go to your point. That January instructed us, the PC visited municipalities in our various forms, and then we had a visit of the Portfolio Committee on Copter National, and that's when these issues were sharpened and they occupied the public discourse. As a result of that, we said we need a special Provincial Executive Committee meeting to focus and deal with these issues, which we did 2 days ago. And then we said these municipalities are then being categorized. All of them, I'm sure, would need interventions, but the extent or the character of the interventions will be informed by how did we characterize the challenges of these municipalities. Now, the 6 and the 7 that we are talking about are the municipalities that we're saying are in the rate. Number one, consistent disclaimers. 5 to 7 years, conservative disclaimers. 2, inability to pass the budget. Very key in terms of the law. Clearing service delivery, non-service delivery issues. And I'm not even saying challenges, I'm saying people do not have water for a particular period of time. Issues of allegations of corruption. The political instability of the ANC caucus. Now, these issues took us to those following municipalities. Mukaka is one of them. Nketwana is one of them. Mafube is one of them. The district municipality is one of them. Masilonyana is one of those municipalities. And that's where we said on these ones, the type of the interventions would warrant that there must be reconfiguration, there must be redeployment, people must be recalled, and all of that. The PWC meeting has been tasked, the processing unit of the NC called the Provincial Working Committee, to then go into details and deal with this thing in line with the framework as defined by the PC in terms of the challenges that we're dealing with.
So when are you expecting all of these changes to be made?
Cathy, the ANC has got its own process. Certainly where we, as a province, our authority allows, the changes will happen immediately. For instance, the chief whip, the speaker, the provinces will act immediately and swiftly. But obviously the mayor, we've got to get concurrence from the National Executive Committee of the ANC. We have taken other decisions. We are still awaiting that concurrence. And this is just part of the ANC as an organization to say, let's process things in such a manner that they do not deepen the crisis. In fact, the spirit must be to correct.
You're bringing me to my next point. How are you going to ensure that there is no fallout from these decisions? And we have seen before where ANC members have clearly defied what the instructions from the party have been. People have resisted leaving office. They have resisted being redeployed to the point of even taking the party to court.
Cathy, we're experiencing the same. We've long taken a decision upon our assessment of one municipality called Nala, which is also part of the 6 and 7, where the speaker was redeployed, recalled, and all manner of theatrics were employed, including the court, to frustrate that decision of the ANC. But of course, we will always have a recourse, and we are, exhausting the recourse available to us to ensure that, including to even go to the IEC and withdraw some of these names. It's one of the avenues which we're pursuing. But at the end of it all, it's not that people have been malicious. We all know that you said at the PS of a political organization that is deployed to in government. Our South African political system, there is nothing else in this country other than that particular approach.
Part of the difficulty that you're facing in the Free State is that in some of these municipalities where you talk about political instability, it's not as a result of the ANC and other political parties, but it's because of the factional battles that are playing out within the ANC itself. And so the decisions that are made at a political level also face scrutiny within that same perspective. So even this decision that has now been taken by the PEC of the party, how do we know that this is not yet another round of the factionalism that exists within the party?
Look, Cathy, the ANC is on record admitting the internal strife, which in itself also frustrates the ANC to be able to provide leadership to our people. And one of them is factionalism, careerism. All these negative tendencies which are part and parcel of our lives, from time to time seeking to, show their ugly head and all of that. And the ANC has also been responding organizationally. For instance, the project of renewal, at the center of which is the requirement to unite the ANC, is an expectation that members of the ANC have got to act in a particular way. But critical, the ability of the ANC to be decisive against these things without giving an impression that they are being tolerated because it is this or that comrade or that member of the ANC. And we're at the point where we think that the project is on the right direction, is taking root. And indeed,
but my question is different to what you are answering to. What I have asked is, what is the assurance that the people who live in these municipalities have that this decision is a decision that is genuinely coming out of wanting to improve the state of affairs in these municipalities, and not as a result of the fights and the tension within the ANC? Because again, if we're being honest, Mr. Meko, already these municipalities have been in a point of distress for close on 7 years. And that's on your own admission and acknowledgement. So it's taken 7 years to see this kind of strong action from the ANC. Why now?
Now, Cathy, you must appreciate that this is not the first decision. This is the first decision that media has got an interest about, because ANC says we're going to remove somebody. 2 months ago, we removed the mayor in Mohokare municipality. It did not occupy the.
Can you give me an example of when else the ANC removed 7 mayors, speakers, and chief whips all in one go, like you have decided to do now?
Yeah, that point probably is the number of the people that are going to be removed. But in itself, it doesn't mean the ANC has not taken a decision to remove people. It assumes this currency, I agree with you, because of the number. But there has been decisions. There has been interventions. Maybe not to the extent that they will draw attention as these ones is doing. Our decision is that, look, after some time, we've made assessment, we've taken a decision. We've instilled, the ANC is even introducing a political program called the foundation phase. All of these things are interventions to create a new man who will respect the values and the requirements of being a public servant.
Okay,
now,
Mr.
If you want to achieve changes,
just hang on. No, just hang on. I'm going to give you a chance to continue. It's now time for the latest news headlines.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines on SAFM, I am Ondela Mbana, and a very good morning. The Department of Transport says it is hopeful that by December it would have cleared the current backlog of driving license cards. The department has a backlog of over 500,000 driving licenses that still needs to be printed. Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabon is urging parents to apply for school admission as early as possible so they can secure schools that are close to their homes. And members of the pro-Palestinian boycott, disinvest and sanctions movement and the South African Palestine movement have called on government, specifically the Department of Trade and Industry, to stop coal exports from South Africa to Israel. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Taking a look at your markets this morning, the rand currently trading at 17 rand 68 to the dollar, 23 rand 70 to the pound, and 20 rand 50 to the euro. Markets in Asia were mainly higher at the closing bell. The JSE has extended gains in mid-morning trade. Markets in Europe are currently in negative terrain. Gold is trading at $3,326, platinum $1,345 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $67.68 a barrel.
The Uganda Cranes have a strong belief that they will celebrate to the referee's final whistle. But the Lions of Teranga trust their mission in search of a semi-final spot. This is the quarter-final encounter of the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Uganda versus Senegal this Saturday, 23 August at 4 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This is the story of South Africa's creative heartbeat, where voices rise, where hands create, where stories live. From city stages to village festivals, from gallery walls to global screens, our creativity shapes the world. They are the storytellers, the dreamers, the makers. Join us as we honor brilliance and celebrate South Africa's creative excellence. The National Arts and Culture Awards 2025 on SABC1 on the 23rd of August from 7:30 p.m.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, we continue with the conversation on the Talking Point. Our guest for this hour is Thabo Mieko, the ANC Free State spokesperson. It's off the back of a decision by the PEC to remove mayors in 7 municipalities, including speakers and chief whips, all this an attempt to turn the state of those municipalities around. So, Mr. Meko, before we went to the headlines, I'd asked you a question around why now, and what is the assurance that you can give that this move is not yet another fallout from the political factions within the ANC?
The point I was attempting to make is that we will employ all manner of interventions, which include as well, the political program to reinduct members of the ANC, to revive the understanding of why they've been sent to become public servants. All manner of those interventions. Now, having to come to remove is the last measure. Is a measure that says the situation is not changing around. Look, one of the examples is that people will fight in municipalities, councillors will fight, and there will be deployees who are permanently being sent to babysit municipalities at all times, not only when there's a crisis, but people will also cause hell. The National Executive Committee deployees in our province will be part PC and REC, babysitting ANC caucuses, to ensure that nothing goes wrong, to ensure that service delivery is consistent and sustainable. Now, I'm saying there will be situations which becomes incorrigible, or no matter what we have done, no matter our plans, no matter everything else, it does not look like the situation is going to assist. Now, what helps is that this decision is taken by a collective, not an individual. And if it's a collective, our belief, our hope is that men and women elected by the branches and structures of the ANC, given their track record in politics and their political activism, will elevate the interest of the ANC as opposed to the interest of individuals. And that's why these decisions are called political decisions. And then they are seeking to resolve a very complex issues of politics.
So what do you think will be the difference between those that you are removing and their replacements?
And look, Cathy, the unfortunate thing that the ANC does not have capacity to throw bones. But as I said, that
what does that mean? What does that mean?
No. What I mean is that we take a decision to send a particular individual to a particular responsibility, having satisfied ourselves that indeed this person has gone through an eye of a needle. What do we mean by that? We mean this person has satisfied all the requirements. But remember, this person is going to operate with a collective of other cadres. The human relation factor and all these other things which the ANC has never sent people to go into kicks in. And that's where the movement comes in and intervenes. That you operated as a collective. We expected you to do so. You didn't. We don't think that you're going to help the organization. As a result, we are reconfiguring this, we are removing this one, putting this one as per the assessment, your strength will be better placed in that particular area, all those sorts of things. And that's why I'm saying that going into that meeting, it will be a processing plant that looks into matters of details. The PC was a high-level political meeting which took political decisions.
One of the challenges, Mr. Meko, that we have, and it's something that has been spoken about publicly on this platform too, by some of the ANC's former deployees, is about the PECs themselves and how the PECs become part of the problem when it comes to the governance that takes place at a local level. That there are instructions that come out of provincial executive committees to mayors, to administrators in municipalities around how resources should be distributed and just around how the administrations should be running. And that too becomes part of the problem to why municipalities fail in the first place. I want you to just comment on that, please, for me.
It is known to the ANC that these things at times they happen, and this is part of what we're saying are challenges, and the ANC has got to prevail on them. The only decisions that ANC political structures must give to the ANC government is when the ANC deploys a politician in the form of a mayor. It's when the ANC gives that deployee, and of course, the deployee is going to preside politically over that administration and election manifesto. That's the program that the ANC instructs. Any other thing with regard to how resources has got distributed, who must be given a tender, which administrator must be hired, these are things that are not sanctioned by the ANC, and that's why as we intervene and we pick up, or this is one of the problems, we then take a decision that no, your conduct as a leader, you did what the ANC is not expecting of you to do, and of course the decision then is taken.
But where are the instructions coming from? Because I hear you dealing with somebody who has acted corruptly, as you see it or define it as a party. But do you then investigate where did this instruction come from? And who in the ANC then needs to be held accountable? And further to that, look at how you as a party are holding these individuals accountable.
Can you misunderstood your question?
What I'm asking you is, you say you've been made aware of the challenge that I'm referring to, that there are instructions that are set to come out of provincial executive committees, going to mayors and other administrators within local government office, and that becomes part of the problem behind why we're seeing such failures. Because these individuals are at the behest of the party, so they then end up doing as they're told, right? And you say you're aware of it. In fact, it's one of the challenges that you have identified and are trying to deal with, even through this removal of individuals, of the office bearers. Now, what I'm asking is, beyond seeing that there's an issue, do you investigate where these instructions within the party are coming from? Do you also look further to say, what is the action that must be taken, disciplinary action that is, against individuals that would have issued these instructions, even if that means taking disciplinary actions against members of the provincial executive committees?
No, certainly, Cathy. I just don't recall an example in our province where an individual leader has been subjected to DC for giving government a wrong decision. But I'm saying to you, this thing is a reality. We do know that it's part of what is creating problems. But there's never been an ANC structure that gives any level of government an illegal and a wrong decision. If it happens, it is individuals, and of course investigations have been done, and people are being subjected to the DC for having been done such an illegal thing, either through tenders, either through employment, either through any other thing. The structures of the ANC are expected to support government because they operate the grassroots.
Yeah, but Mr. Meko, you're giving yourself an easy way out. You acknowledge that this is a problem that exists, but for whatever reason, between that instruction being given and the ANC taking action against its members, then there's a gap, because it now becomes, we know it's happening, we don't really know who's behind it, but we are against it and it's not sanctioned by us. And yet you know it's coming from within your circles.
Okay, that's the point. That's the point I was making to you, that the ANC does not have capacity to throw stones and see the things that cannot be provided through an evidence-based investigation. I'm saying I do not recall an example in my head currently where the ANC has acted against individuals who might have acted in that particular way. But I am reassuring you, there is no structure of the ANC, PC, and RFC that took a decision and give a wrong or illegal instruction to a government institution.
So then where are these instructions coming from that you say you're aware of from individuals?
No, I'm saying of all the problems that we've diagnosed, we do know this is part of what has created us challenges. When we meet municipalities, you will be told that, no, so and so gave me this instruction. Give me the name, and the name would not come. Now, and that's where investigations will then have to unfold, such that we get to the bottom of the problem. I do not recall now, on top of my head, a situation where this thing has happened and we have acted. I do know that we have acted by the removal of mayors before this one. We have acted by the removal of speakers, removal of chief whips, in many municipalities where we think that people were not acting in accordance with the expectations of the ANC as a deployee of the ANC.
Yeah, it just seems to me, Mr. Meko, that there is a lack of will to follow through, because the very people that you will be speaking to asking who gave this instruction, those are also ANC members, right? There's a responsibility on them too to make these disclosures. But because you don't actually want to get into it, it's enough for you when people say, I'm not going to give your name. You simply move on from that. It's convenient because you don't actually want to deal with the problem.
No, I think your conclusion becomes unfair, Cathy. I did indicate that investigations are being conducted. I don't remember on top of my head now where we did, and then people were held accountable. But we do know of the reality of the fact that this is one of the problems. Of course, if a leader of the ANC instructs the mayor, I'm sure the mayor will have courage to tell the ANC. But we are not only talking about the mayor here, we're talking about councillors. We're talking about other people who sometimes officials are giving instructions by some of the members of the ANC, somewhere there in the branch of the ANC. And of course, I'm saying to you, ANC has been acting. ANC will indeed act when these things are being discovered. I just don't have examples now to point to, as I did with other municipalities, with regard to such things and how the ANC has acted.
And even that is a try.
We're not running away from it, Katie. If because there's got to be evidence. You also do not want to open a kangaroo court as the ANC. We do our own investigation, given our own code of conduct, our constitution, and then when those investigations are concluded, indeed, people are held accountable.
I think what you don't want to do is open a can of worms. And that's why you have responded to these matters in the way that you have. Pule, you're calling us from Valcom. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. Cathy. How are you?
Good, thanks, Pule. Go for it.
Yeah, Ms. Cathy, Mr. Meko is not genuine. My question is, are these the only municipalities that are in discuss or what? Let me tell you, we know of Mangaung, we know of Machabe, that for the past 5 years, or even they have not been getting clean audit for the past 10 years, even 10, let's say 10 years in Machabe. Now, you cannot come to here and say that these municipalities, they are the only ones. There are a lot of municipalities. Let me tell you about Machabe. There's a big scandal now of Machabe about the airport, whereby the guy who's Cat, who's at this thing, at court today, he opened a company. After 2 days, he got a contract of about over $1 billion. Now, are they genuine? That's part of corruption. The Machabe cannot collect revenue. It's known that they cannot collect revenue. Come to to Machabe and check how sewer service delivery is stacked. But they want to say, because, and if you can check about these 7 municipalities that they're talking about, many are women. They are afraid of these men. All the municipalities that are held by men, they're not taking them. Why? Let's count out how many women out of these 7. How many are women? How many are men? You check. It will tell you that they only go for soft victims. Thank you.
Mr. Meko, do you want to respond to that, please?
Cathy, I don't know if you've been following the news. There was a big scandal from the municipality that my brother is mentioning of an abuse of EPWP resources. It occupied the national headlines. It was in the public discourse for the longest. Only that a week or 2 weeks later, to that extent, even the minister announced that he's going to suspend the resources for that EPWP. 2 weeks later, investigations were done and the municipality is clear. Now, nothing wrong. If there's an allegations about a billion tender being what, people are encouraged to go to the police station. People are encouraged to write to the public protector. People are encouraged to exhaust all apparatuses of the state that deals with issues of security, so that we don't just parade allegations and we want to pigeonhole everything else and everybody else without a proper evidence. We are aware of the challenges that facing Machabeng. We were there. That's why Machabeng currently is under Section 106, if I'm correct, which deals with financial recovery. Now, where there are problems, the ANC has always been seeking solutions, and that's why the provincial government, led by the ANC in the Free State, is undertaking those interventions in Mangaung to restore service delivery and ensure that all manner of wrong things are being corrected.
And can I get in there? In Machabeng, the same thing that he's talking about, that the minister pronounced on, he forgets that it was only not about that. It was that the mayor ballooned his staff component. He was supposed to have got less than 20, but it's over 40 people that were employed in his office. It's not only about that. And the second thing is that it's Cathy, when he's talking about I just need something now that he spoke about now. But I was saying on the issue of the airport, it's everywhere on the news. You must not say that it's everywhere on the news. Unless on the issue of intervention from the for Section 139.
Pule, I'm going to pause you there. We need to take a break. We'll continue shortly.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Cathy Mohlahlana is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, we are continuing with the show this morning. Bule, I'm going to give you just a final shot to make your concluding remarks, and then I'll get to our other callers. Bule?
Of the initiative. Sorry, hello?
Yes, sir, you're live on the radio now, yes.
Okay, so I was saying Section 139 is not because of the initiative of the ANC, it's because of the DA when it went to court. It's because of the court, which they're not even adhering to even today. It's not because that the ANC intervened. No, the ANC never did. The ANC was not even in favor of 139. It's because of court, because our municipality was not servicing its own, it was not giving service delivery to the people. It's not the ANC.
Okay, Bule, thanks for that. Mr. Meko, can you also then respond to the issue of women and the fact that you largely target women deployees?
I did not pick up the one of the women. I think my brother was a bit cut in there.
Yeah, Bule earlier said that many of the times where you do move mayors, those mayors are female mayors.
Where we leave mayors or we deploy mayors.
Where you remove them, where you take them out of office.
No. Cathy, that's factually incorrect. Look, the issue of the 50-50 with regard to empowering women or recognizing their capacity, by the way, that they are equal to men in terms of the leadership, is an ANC policy and we're implementing it. But we're not implementing it nakedly. That it is also buttressed by capacity. We don't just take anybody else because he's a mayor. We take women who are capable, that have been trained, and they've got a proper orientation of the ANC politics and its policy. But when somebody is not delivering, there's no gender there. The ANC will take a decision that we think that we are not delivering, and we think that we've got to recall or redeploy.
How many mayors of those that are being removed now are women?
Okay, nobody has been removed. Our statement says we are from the municipalities as a province. The officials are from there. The deployees have been doing this work.
Yes, but your intention is to remove them, isn't it?
Cathy, I'm going to answer your question. I'll try to be short. Now, this comes out of an intensive assessment that we have done. We met as a PC, appreciated the report. Now, we said these are categories of municipalities with challenges.
I'm not disputing that, sir.
I'm responding
Just answer the question directly. I asked a very direct question. How many are women?
Yeah, but it's going to be unfortunate for the yes and no.
No, but all you have to do is give a number, sir.
Cathy, we have not removed anybody. There's an intention to have in those 7 municipalities.
Yes, and of those municipalities, how many of them are run by women?
I don't have that statistics with me currently.
You're not being honest. You know.
No, but I am honest.
Because that means that you don't know who these mayors are. And it's 7 people.
No, Cathy, if you want me to recall on top of my head, I can go municipality by municipality and tell you. Mokaka municipality is a male. The district municipality of Lejoliputswa is a female. The mayor of Mokari is a female. The mayor of Nala is a female. The mayor of what is the other municipality? So I do know of those mayors, but you want me statistics here. And I said I can come back to you and give you those statistics and balance it where are men, where are women. But that is factually incorrect, or we are removing women.
Okay.
We are removing people who are not delivering.
Njabulo, you're in KZN. Good morning.
Morning, Cathy. How are you?
I'm good, Njabulo.
I'm good. I'm chuckling, Cathy, after this response. Cathy, really, I'm sorry. I'm calling from KZN, but it's the same lived experience with people from Free State. I think the other side of the coin to this corruption is officials, Cathy. We're not paying much attention to officials.
Yeah. Njabulo? Okay, looks like there's an issue with Njabulo's line there. Sorry, Njabulo. Martin, you're in the Free State. Good morning.
Hi, Cathy. Good morning to you, and how are you?
Go for it, Martin.
Yes, my greetings also to Mr. Michael there. Very briefly, Cathy, I'm a resident in the Free State, and what my bite would be is, look, one, there's been an oversight committee visit to the province, the national oversight. And the expose thereof, I think, has reflected quite a number of things. My view is, yes, in the midst of a number of challenges that we have in our municipalities, I think I should really say, I want to applaud the decisive, move and action that the ANC has taken, because that then begins to say, we as residents on the ground, from time to time, we raise this issue, service delivery related matters and other issues. And of course, that was, like I said earlier, confirmed by the visit of the Oversight Committee that has really hinted on quite a number of things, And now that the ANC leadership is taking a decision to try to correct some of these things, I think from where I am, it is a gesture and move that we really must appreciate. Look, Cathy, let's say things have happened and there was no move that has happened in terms of trying to correct and address the challenges. What then would be the situation like? But there is a movement in this particular regard. We know it will not just be a once-all bite that takes the whole elephant as a challenge. But the bite, I think the move that they have made, this dramatic and quite a drastic one, really gives an element of hope that we are going somewhere.
Okay.
I think to a certain extent, just in conclusion, I've seen on a manner of where particularly I'm staying, I've seen in a number of things that we as, community coming together and raise issues. I was impressed of late because one could see some changes, ANC, because where I come from, it is the ANC-led council, One would see really, ANC coming in, attending to things and so on. And really that gives courage because it says at least people can listen, the leadership can listen, the leadership can act on things that people raise. On the issues where it's individuals that are having their own things on agenda, I'm really sorry. But generally speaking, where I am, and as a very, a responsible citizen who votes, I'm happy really, and it is giving courage if there is action taken. And thank you very much for the opportunity, Cathy.
No problem. Martin out in the Free State. So that's where we leave it then with that particular conversation for this morning. It's 11 o'clock. On the other side of this, it's the Friday Wind-Down.
Thank you, Cathy. On the top stories, court denies bail to accused in a child abuse case, and government called on to halt coal exports to Israel. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good morning. The bail application of one of the four accused in the case involving a 4-year-old being instructed to light and smoke pipe believed to contain drugs has been denied. The four accused, including the mother of the little boy, appeared in the Johannesburg Regional Court this morning. The presiding magistrate says releasing the accused on bail might endanger other children and that he may evade trial as he faces serious charges. The accused also has a previous conviction of drug possession. Cross-examination of a car accident investigator in the culpable homicide trial of David Melesi, the partner of the late Justice Yvonne Mokgoro, will continue in the Kimberley Magistrates Court. Yesterday, the defense and the state took turns to question the expert witness who started his testimony on Wednesday. Mokgoro died in May 2024 after she succumbed to injuries she sustained in a car crash in April 2023. Melesi was allegedly the driver when the couple was involved in a collision with a truck between Warrenton and Kimberley. Judge Mokgoro Sani Itateng Mokgoro elaborates.
It's justice. It turns, but sometimes it turns very slowly. And today was one of those days where it turned, but it turned pretty slowly. We remain satisfied that there's forward movement. We remain satisfied that layer by layer, turn by turn, the truth is coming out. I mean, it's important. This is just how it works. So we're okay with it.
The Department of Transport says it is hopeful that by December it would have cleared the current backlog of driving license cards. The department has a backlog of over 500,000 driving licenses that still need to be printed. Department spokesperson Colin Msibi says since they fixed the printing machine in May, they have been able to print more than 800,000 driving license cards. Msibi says drivers who are still waiting for their license cards can use the receipt of their license renewal if they made the application before the current one expires.
Since the 8th of May until the 11th of August, we've been able to print up to 834,000 driver's license cards. But it leaves us with 539,000 backlog. And the reason is that while there's that backlog where the machine wasn't working, we still receive applications from motorists on a daily basis. I mean, on a daily basis, we get about more than 10,000 applications. So that is why the backlog, it's difficult for it to go down. But we've given ourselves a bit up until December to be able to complete the backlog.
Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona is urging parents to apply for school admission as early as possible so they can secure schools that are close to their homes. Mabona speaking at the Adingland Primary School in Johannesburg, where Gauteng MEC for Education Matome Chilwane will today provide a comprehensive update on the 2026 online admissions application. Mabona further urged parents to submit or upload documents after applying so their applications can be considered. He had added that the department's target for placements is 400,000 and that they are close to achieving that.
Other people will wait for the last minute. They will come to our offices on the last day. Some will be in the system. You will see on the last day because we'll be punting the messaging to say we are closing. And we've been saying that, counting down. So there will be an expectation really for parents that will come on the last day. The challenge is the documents. You need to make sure that after applying, you submit, or upload the documents. Because if you don't upload documents, then your application will not be considered.
Members of the pro-Palestinian boycott, disinvest and sanctions movement and the South African Palestine movement have called on the government, specifically the Department of Trade and Industry, to stop coal exports from South Africa to Israel. Yesterday, protest outside the offices of Trade and Industry in Durban was supported by COSATU and the SACP. Lobby groups argue that the coal exports aid the Israeli Defense Force in targeting Palestinians. The organizer of the protest, Dr. Ludna Navi.
We are part of the national picket protest that is being organized by the BDS coalition. And our message basically is to the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, which basically, and we are saying to them that they need to stop the sale of coal from South Africa to Israel because that coal is getting shipped from the Richards Bay and going through to Israel. So that's our main message. But also we want all trade between South Africa and Israel to stop. So the DTIC, as a government representative, it has the power to stop that trade.
Israel has continued its bombing of Gaza City overnight after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved plans to take over the city. The new assault will displace hundreds of thousands of people. The BBC's Yolande Nell reports.
The Israeli military is keeping up pressure on Gaza City. The UN says that recent relentless bombardment in the east and south has caused high numbers of civilian casualties and large-scale destruction. Now the Israeli military says it's told doctors and aid workers to start making evacuation arrangements ahead of its expanded military offensive. The announcement appears to amount to a rejection of the new ceasefire and hostage release proposal from regional mediators, which Hamas accepted. There are fears that the new military campaign in Gaza will deepen the humanitarian crisis.
Recapping the top story, the bail application of one of the four accused in the case involving a 4-year-old being instructed to light and smoke pipe believed to contain drugs has been denied. I'm Lambana for SFM News Headlines at 11:30.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
SAFM celebrates its 89th birthday this month by giving listeners an exclusive opportunity to attend the prestigious Joy of Jazz taking place at the Sandton Convention Center from the 26th to the 28th of September 2025. To stand a chance to win these sought-after tickets, simply SMS SAFM 89 followed by your name to 41391. And stay tuned to SAFM as we could be calling you. SAFM is the official media partner for the Dipala stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Entries open from the 7th of August and close on the 31st of August 2025. Winners will be randomly selected and called from the 1st of September 2025. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. T's and C's apply.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.6 FM in Mangaung. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and bright, and I pity any girl who is at me tonight. I feel charming, oh so charming. It's a loving, how charming I feel, and so pretty that I hardly can believe I'm real. See the pretty girl in that mirror there. Who can that attractive girl be? Such a pretty face, such a pretty dress, such a pretty smile, such a pretty hair. I feel stunning and entrancing, feel like running and dancing for joy. For I love my pretty, wonderful boy. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and gay, and I pity any girl who's with me today. I feel charming, oh so charming. It's a loving, how charming I feel, and so pretty that I hardly can believe I'm real. See the pretty girl in that mirror there. Who can that attractive girl be? Such a pretty face, such a pretty dress, such a pretty smile, such a pretty hair. I feel stunning and entrancing, feel like running and dancing for joy. For I love my pretty, wonderful boy.
And that, of course, is I Feel Pretty, and is taken from the production West Side Story. Our guest this morning is Aviva Pelham. Her career spans over 50 years, enchanting audiences, brightening stages, and I guess one could really say spreading love and song across different parts of the world. She remains a highly sought-after singer, director, motivational speaker, and lecturer. She highlights that one of the big career moments she has had is performing for former President Nelson Mandela. Good morning, Aviva, and thank you so much for your time this morning.
Hi, Cathy. It's lovely to be here.
It's a big pleasure to have you on The Talking Point. And I think this is confession time for me, Aviva. It's the first time that we're actually hosting an opera singer on on this slot. So I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that our listeners are going to go on the journey with us. You, of course, have been an opera singer for a significant part of your life. And, you know, opera brings with it theatre, the spectacle of showmanship, really. How would you describe your career?
Wow, that's difficult to pin it down to just a sentence or two. I think it comes really from a family who was incredibly musical. I didn't realize at the time, but my parents were so musical, and there was music in the home. And my two sisters and myself, we sang, we played the piano, we played some instruments. And so a love of music was there from the start. And when I heard about opera and heard it, I realized that it brought together everything I ever wanted to do. As you say, it's the music, it's the drama, and there's lots else. And I just realized that that's what I wanted to do. There were many challenges, many hurdles. It's not easy going when one pulls oneself out of a chorus and wants to try and do something a little bit super special. But overall, Cathy, I think the word I want to say and acknowledge is opportunities. And I'm very mindful of the fact that not only did my parents not have opportunities being born in Europe in really harsh times, and I'm very aware, having come from Zimbabwe and living in South Africa, how many millions of South Africans also didn't have opportunities. So I'm so acknowledging the fact that I had some and was able to, through them, really and unbelievably hard work and sacrifice, try to get to some kind of standard so then I can provide opportunities for others.
Were you always into music?
Apparently I was put on the stage when I was 3, and I wouldn't start singing at the Eisteddfod until I found my mother. Always into music. I don't remember a time that there wasn't music. And of course, music does accompany all of us through our lives with anthems and working songs and, and nowadays with everybody so able to access anything on their phones, and there's a lot of music around. But in our home, it was in the car, it was at lunch, it was at picnics, it was everywhere, and it is now as well. I can't imagine a life without music. I can't imagine a day and sometimes an hour without music. It is as important to me as breathing and sleeping and eating.
Wow, that's quite powerful. When you look back again at how your path became to shape up around opera, was it quite a transition for you at the time? Had you been exposed to opera music at all?
My parents had some of those old-fashioned long 78s and 33s. I'm really, really aging myself here, and I don't have a problem about that. I must be the only singer in the world who is happy to tell everybody her age. So I heard some on recordings, and it thrilled me very much. The use of the voice, using the entire body, the drama, the thrill. And as I went through school in Harare, of course it was Rhodesia in those times, I did anything I could in terms of piano and clarinet and some other instruments. I did drama, so I was kind of moving along that field. And when I came to university at UCT, I auditioned piano as my first subject and singing as my second. I was longing to sing. I didn't mind where or what. It was a huge, overwhelming need that I had to express myself through my own body. And, they turned me down for second subject singing, which means they really thought I was totally useless. And that was a terrible knock. It was such a terrible knock, because if I wasn't good enough for second subject, I was really useless. So I kind of hibernated. Well, I carried on with my other studies, but then I heard about the opera course at UCT, which only registered students every few years, and suddenly the world lit up for me. It was everything I wanted. It was the music, it was the singing, it was harmony, it was counterpoint, it was piano, it was languages, it was dance, everything I could do and I wanted to do. So I started in the opera course. And Cathy, I wasn't very good. I was kind of huffing and puffing because I had asthma, and I think I was very, very shy and tense, and you can't make beautiful sounds if you're shy and tense. And so it was slow going until a few people believed in me, and I got a chance to actually perform. And once I could perform, everything came together for me. So up till, as you know, many, many years ago, all you needed to do for opera was just stand in the front and belt, can belto instead of bel canto. And then things changed in opera, and they expected a performance, an understanding of drama, to an extremely high level, which is not easy when you're singing above an entire orchestra. But the moment I got the chance to perform, I knew I had that's what I wanted to do incredibly intensely.
Yeah, the part of your story, just in those early university years and feeling the rejection around that singing as your second subject. Artists generally tend to, have such feedback because, it's so intrinsically related to how you believe your career will shape up, and in fact to how it shapes up. It can be a knockdown for some people. I remember being in varsity and just speaking to some of the other guys that were on campus, and with the music school, when they were rejected based on their singing, some of them never really recovered from it. In fact, they stopped singing altogether. So what did it take for you to get out of that?
I remember what's the feeling, smarting, being so frustrated, thinking, can't they see that there's a theatre animal here with so much music coming out of every pore of my body? Can they not see something? And I must be honest, I'm extremely mindful of that when I'm invited to judge or adjudicate anything. I am so careful, Cathy, because there can be somebody there who hasn't yet realized that he or she has the permission to express herself through the body with enormous passion, and it's so easy to turn somebody off, as you say. I mean, Mozart, the comment that was given to him when he wrote Marriage of Figaro was, too many notes, Mozart, too many notes. And there was also a very wonderful book called No Turn Unstoned, which was an accumulation of crits written by people all over the world about the world-famous dancers, singers, instrumentalists, actors, and all the crits were shocking. I mean, great artists like Nureyev and the best of dancers and singers got the worst crits, and look where they are now. And I've always thought, who are our critics? What do they know? Are they informed? Do they know what they're looking for? So you're absolutely right. Sometimes, especially if you're young, it can be so devastating that maybe you don't get up again.
Aviva, we're going to continue the conversation shortly. Aviva Pelham is our Friday wind down guest, and we'll continue to enchant you with more of her music.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Pretoria's smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah. Started out as a passion, and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Brew, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion, geared for you.
The Bavarians want to rubber stamp that they are reigning champions and open the curtain with victory. Meanwhile, the Red Bulls are confident they will cause an upset. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch Bayern Munich versus RB Leipzig this Friday, 22 August at 8:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Spar brings you super savings. Get Pampers Active Baby Nappies or Nappy Pads Value Pack for $169.99 plus 400 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Or Cadbury Crunchy Lunch Bar PS or 5-star chocolate bars, any two for 22 Rand plus 50 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 24 August 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
All of a sudden my senses are reeling. Why do I comical feeling. Everything is going round. I can't get close to the ground. I feel so happy, I really must giggle. Perhaps it's the bubbles that make my nose tickle. Can it be that I am tipsy? That is quite ridiculous. Shall I have another little glass? Perhaps this feeling then will quickly pass. Maybe I should have a little kiss. I'm sure that it would be bliss. No, 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 ha, 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 ha. All of a sudden, my senses are reeling. Why do I have such a comical feeling? Everything is going round. I can't get close to the ground. I feel so happy, I really must giggle. Perhaps it's the bubbles that make my nose tickle. Can it be that I am tipsy? That is quite ridiculous. Ooh la la, ooh la la, I must watch every move. Ooh la la, ooh la la, I don't think I approve. Why do the bubbles just go to my head? This is something that never has happened before. I must try to remember to fasten the door, or I'm ready to fall into bed. Yes, 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 yes. Ah, 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 ah. All of a sudden my senses are reeling. Why do I have such a comical feeling? Everything is going round. I can't keep close to the ground. I feel so happy, I really must giggle. Perhaps it's the bubbles that make my nose tickle. Can it be that I am tipsy? That is quite real. Tipsy? Not a bit.
Oh, absolutely wonderful, wonderful. And that's Tipsy, taken from Jacques Offenbach's operetta, La Perricholet. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but something says I'm not. Aviva, how do we say it?
La Pericole.
La Pericole. There we go. La Pericole.
Absolutely fine. And Cathy, please tell your listeners that I'm not always drunk. I did so many drunk scenes that suddenly the room had, oh my goodness, the room has started. And the thing is about a Tipsy song is that it's so charming and fun and accessible, and you don't think of opera singers misbehaving, do you?
No, not at all. And you know, I'm so glad that you said that, because as one is just listening, you get drawn in, and it's almost like you're in the theater, because the way in which you're telling the story with your voice is so powerful that we almost don't even need the picture. But we you know, you've given us enough and told the story enough. Is it difficult to do that?
I must be honest, I think that the visual, I've always counted on the visual because people are in the audience and it is live, which makes it a very different medium from so many others. And I personally think that it does help a lot. I've got a bottle there. I sip from the bottle. I misbehave. I put some in my shoe. I slip down the stairs. It's charming. She's got streamers all over her, and she falls into the canal. I think you heard the big splash. So probably visuals help. I can only hope that one can also communicate without the visuals, through the music. And these composers are such geniuses. I'm really in love with operetta. I love the fact that it is so light and accessible, maybe more so than opera. And I'm a big champion for operetta.
What's the difference, Aviva?
Opera is a story that is sung, but often the subjects are very serious and important, and they reflect human relationships, and it's sung with trained singers. This takes many years to get the voice to do whatever your mind tells it to and whatever the demands of the musical score are. And it's a very difficult medium, opera, singing above an orchestra. Now, operetta is also with an orchestra and properly trained singers, but somehow it's somewhere between opera and musicals. It seems to be more accessible, and it's got a charming style, as you heard there. It's kind of got a bit of a lilt. It's still got elegance and humor and satire sometimes. But I find that because it's more accessible, I'm very aware of audiences who maybe are terrified of opera and take a step back if they see me coming. But operetta is much more accessible.
Yeah, and you know, Aviva, one of my questions to you, and I guess we can get into it on the other side of the headlines, is on exactly that opera can often be a very, very intimidating space, even for, you know, the consumers. There are not a lot of people who will wake up and say, I'm buying a ticket to the opera, you know, and it is also seen as an acquired taste. And I want you to speak to us about those elements and what your own observations have been in your career. We'll continue the conversation on the Friday Wind Down with Aviva Palham. For now, it's 11:30. Here are your headlines.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines, the bail application of one of the 4 accused in the case involving a 4-year-old being instructed to light and smoke a pipe believed to contain drugs has been denied. The Department of Transport says it is hopeful that by December it would have cleared the current backlog of driving license cards. The department has a backlog of over 500,000 driving licenses that still need to be printed. And Israel has continued its bombing of Gaza City overnight after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved plans to take over the city. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Harambee Stars are on a mission to maintain their unbeaten run. They eye a special ticket to the last 4, but the Berea have a big task to silence the hosts. This is the quarterfinal clash of the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch this exciting African battle, Kenya versus Madagascar, this Friday 22 August at 4 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Luck could be on your side when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 69 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 26 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 43 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All. We honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
This perfect dream. This dream was me and you. I want all the world to see. A miracle sensation, my guide and inspiration. How my dream is slowly coming. Is a gentle the bells are ringing out. They're calling us together, guiding us forever. Wish my dream would never go. It was the first time that we met. How can I forget the moment that you stepped into the room? You took my breath let the songs begin. Let the music play. Start the voices sing. Start the celebration. And cry. And shake the foundations from the sky.
Friday wind down. You see, we forget about these politicians, who's stealing what, who is corrupting who. We just, you relax, Oscar. You just relax. I love it. I love it. I love it. Woo! War, war, war.
Hi, Cathy. This is Bully from PE. Cathy, you have made my weekend. This is my kind of vibe. Oh my word, I'm enjoying the conversation and the music. She reminds me of Mary Poppins in The Sound of Music. Oh wow, you've made my weekend, Cathy. Have a good one.
Hi, Cathy. My mom also wanted to be a opera singer when she was young. She was very good, but things didn't work out for her in life. It's a long story. Um, but yes, I just want to agree with Aviva. To me, with most of the arts, all of the arts, to me, the critics just tend to sometimes wreck or destroy things that shouldn't be. There's so many good films and other artworks out there that the critics speak ill of, and when you watch them, or you go and you view these things or hear these things, and you find yourself totally disagreeing with the critics, and you wonder what's going through these people's heads, and why does everybody else even listen to them? Do we really need these people in our lives? Can't people just decide for themselves what they like?
Yeah, and I guess that's why it's important, for all of us to have that fire inside of us, beyond what it is that people have to say or what people think. But if you have that fire in you, that's going to keep you going in spite of the criticism that you might receive. I'm so glad so many of you are enjoying today's segment. I don't know, Uncle Freddie, was there a dying horse in your truck, or what's going on? Huh? I disapprove completely. But I can hear you're having quite a bit of fun as you're listening to the show this Friday. Kaz in Durban says, Cathy, lovely interview with Aviva. Thank you so much. Somebody else says, my mom is absolutely loving this interview. And Munching from Dawn Park says, good day, Cathy. Wow, what a nice show. Though somehow unusual for your slot, I am really loving it. Yes, I did say that, we're sort of throwing pebbles. We're testing the waters today, and it certainly seems like it is a decision that has gone down very well. Aviva Pelham is our guest for this morning. Really, you could hear in those different songs that we played coming out of news, it was Barcelona. She sang that with Joseph Clark, and it was originally written by Freddie Mercury, as many of you will know. But yeah, she's enchanted audiences for well over 50 years. She's been in this for a long time and continues to do it. It's still her big passion. Aviva, maybe just your response to our listeners and what they were saying in the voice notes.
I'm very thrilled that other people are getting such enjoyment from a song like Barcelona. It's one of the most brilliant pieces written. I mean, look, guys, if Freddie Mercury can fall in love with opera, maybe you can just stay open and see if there's something that appeals to you. I mean, he was an opera freak, and he got Montserrat Caballé to sing that duet with him. And there he is doing the rock and the push and the yell, and he's had an amazing voice, incredible range, wonderful musicality. And she's on the top doing all this opera stuff, very, very demanding. I've sung it about 120 times, and I'm happy to do some more. It's just the most wonderfully fulfilling, interesting piece. I think the major point that comes out of this is the word crossover. I am not a purist. I've never been a purist, although I've studied long and hard, and I've done really classical, a lot of classical. But to me, how do we communicate with people who maybe haven't heard opera before? And that is crossover. Find a way. Look look what the three tenors did at the rugby opening. The three tenors, well, first of all, Pavarotti with his Nessun Dorma, and then all three tenors singing with wonderful voices, but lighter music. I had the privilege when I watched the three tenors on TV to think, you know what, the girls can do this. And the reason I'm mentioning it, Cathy, is because it's Women's Month, and I know SAFM has focused so much on it. You know, and I chose Sibongile Khumalo and Virginia Davids and myself, and we did something called Divine Divas. We sang everything. We sang opera, operetta, musicals. We sang gospel. We did everything. We changed. It was so entertaining and so accessible. We went on cruise liners. We went to the festival hall representing South Africa. And that is crossover. We don't have to be afraid if an art form comes our way and we don't understand it and it feels overwhelming. I think if somebody has a chance to go to an opera, possibly what will help them is a little bit of understanding ahead of time what the story is, and there are always subtitles, and maybe familiarity. You know, that's why we like certain music, because we're familiar with it. Maybe if you can listen to a bit in advance, it won't scare you so much.
Sure. And you know, it comes back to the topic of accessibility, Aviva, that you touched on earlier, because part of that intimidation perhaps is coming out of the fact that this is music that has not historically been widely accessible for different communities in our country. How do you think that we can begin to change it and take it to more of the people? Because South Africans more broadly enjoy choral music. You know, if you go to the choir competitions, you just won't believe how many people are there and truly invested in the process. You know, from school choirs to adult choirs, people who are just singing for fun. And to me, choral and opera are perhaps closer together than what we would hear in mainstream.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, it hasn't just begun. It began some time ago, but you're right. Who can access it? Professor Angelo Gobato, who was a huge influence in my own life, he started many years ago, at least 4 decades ago, going out into all these areas where, as you say, choral music is just so important. I've sung in a chorus. There are very few things that are more exciting than that. It's a wonderful feeling to not only sing and partake, but share with people around some great music. So he went out and he selected singers and he brought them back to Cape Town Opera, and they became the backbone of the opera company as the vocal ensemble, which exists today, 18 to 22 people who are paid fully to be part of operas and form the backbone as the chorus. They also do solo work, etc. Then they go back into their communities and they spread it. And believe me, opera is very much loved, possibly in areas that you and I don't hear about. But yeah, if only we can just find ways to keep bringing people in and sending it out. This is how knowledge grows.
Absolutely. It is really about opening up that world of possibility, of opportunity, that
and
people
Cathy,
Go ahead.
Sorry to disturb you. You know what's the crucial thing here is the fact that in South Africa we have a treasure chest of voices. One wonders why it is that there are amazing basses in Russia and incredible lyric and spinto tenors and sopranos in Spain. But in South Africa, we've got everything. The voices are magnificent. They're coming out. The point is they need training. I'm a big girl on training. You can't just sing, because actually that voice can get ruined and tired in a very short time unless people know what they're doing. But I'm just so proud of South Africa that the voices are here, and with the correct training, as we can see, our singers are on the world stages, from Pretty Yendi to Fikile and Vijelwa to many people who are out there holding the South African flag and singing opera at the highest level.
Wonderful. Willie, you're calling us from Kuma. Good morning. Hello,
Look,
Willie.
yeah, yes, ma'am. You see, you've just taken the words out of my mouth when referring to Freddie Mercury singing a duet with that lady. Yeah, when I see them on TV, sometimes I go crazy. And I remember the song again. It was during, I don't know, World Cup out in France when I started hearing them. You see, Casey and the lady there, you, the lady in particular, your voice reminded me of Kate Bush, who is singing Wuthering Heights, something like that. So it moved me across the mountain, just like Freddie, the truck driver, you see. You see, Kathy, you rarely bring us this kind of music, you see. You would play, take local people more than ever before. But now, today, that's why a few ladies and Freddie and myself go so crazy, because you see, we are on the side of that kind of music, you see. And then opera, solo, duet, choral, as you mentioned, Kathy. These are really heartbreaking stuff, so to speak. Thank you very much.
All right, Willie. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and I can hear, that little jab that you were taking at us. We hear you, Willie. That's what I can say. We hear you.
Kathy,
Yes,
good. You're going to
yes.
back again. I think the most important thing that we're talking about here is communication, which the world, unfortunately, is very short of, as we can see how crazy the world is. So when you communicate through the voice, which every human being has, it's like a fingerprint. It's unique. It's special. And when you sing, something else happens that resonates in anybody who's listening. They might not be listening fully or want it or let it, but when you are open and you allow wonderful music to come into your own space, I think there are probably more people out there than we thought who love it, who love things that might be a little bit different from the usual fare.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm back with Aviva.
Dumelang Mzansi, welcome to the Health Club. This is where we unpack the issues that affect our health, your well-being, and your everyday life.
Arthritis, high blood.
Losing your health is an event that is not predictable.
Organized crime syndicates have infiltrated our healthcare system and has cost the country billions of rands.
Claims that are fraudulent could be anything between 5 to 15%.
I'm your host, Clement Manyatela. This is the Health Club.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195, and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
SAFM Music. Good times, good memories.
I'm just like somebody.
Old school sounding so good. SAFM Music, with you wherever you go.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Good morning, Kathy and the SAFM listeners. Hearing all these beautiful melodies, I'm just reminded of my childhood. Who's that pretty girl in the picture there? What picture where? Reminds me of a movie by Adam Sandler. And the Barcelona theme song, I remember the Olympics in 1992. Thank you for the lovely music. Matt Morano Leboagomo. I thank you.
Ow, Sis Kathy. Thank you very much with such a wonderful music. This type of music goes through my veins. Indeed. Thank you, Sissy. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Music that goes through the veins. Again, I'm so glad that so many of you are enjoying it. Somebody else says, loving the legendary musicians living life outside of the matrix. And that's Brian Mabaye from Protea Glen. We're nearing the end of our time. Can't believe how quickly it has all gone by. It's been a lovely conversation. Let's talk about maybe what you've been up to recently and anything that you want to update our listeners on.
I've got a few projects that I'm really passionate about. One of them is the Motor Neurone Disease Association, which recently had a global day. And it's really a scary disease which causes muscle weakness. And I'd just like to bring to people's minds the fact that if there's any way they can help with some kind of skills in marketing or fundraising, we need carers, we need advisors. If so, by all means, contact the Motor Neurone Disease Association. They've got a website. And also recently I did do my 4th operetta competition. I found that there seems to be very little operation happening in Cape Town, so I just wanted to try and lift give it more exposure. And I partner with Opera UCT and their amazing director, Professor Jeremy Silver. And we use the students, and this is their 4th year where they've been singing operetta, not only in German or French or English, but also zarzuela, which is a Spanish way of expressing operetta. And I think it would be wonderful if people just explored a little bit more than what they usually used to. I've also got some other pet loves like the AME Foundation, where I work in outreach with wonderful young talent, keeping them off the street, empowering them with anything to do with music, dance, marimba, brass, choral. And I suppose Africa is so rich in so much that is different. But in my opinion, if you pull people in and shine the light on what they can do that is extra special, and then you join us together in an Ubuntu spirit, there's nobody in the world that can be stronger than South Africa.
Aviva, we have been truly enchanted over the last hour. Thank you so much for making time for us and letting us a little bit into your world. Aviva Pelham is our Friday Wind Down guest, and unfortunately we're out of time. That's where we're going to leave it for today. I know you don't want us to go, but this is the way it has to be. I'm sorry, but don't worry. We'll be back on Monday between 9 and midday. Up next, I'm going to leave you with Dominoes.
Domino, domino, le printemps chante à moi, Dominique, le soleil se fait beau, j'ai le cœur comme une boîte à musique, j'ai besoin de toi, de tes mains sur moi, de ton corps doux et chaud, j'ai envie
Is there ever a bad time for a good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
It's 12 o'clock, Friday, the 22nd of August, 2025. A very warm welcome to Update at Noon here on SFM, leading the conversations that move us. My name is Bongi Wazwana, standing in for Sakina Kamwendo. At this hour, we're going to be looking at a disturbing story of a 3-month-old baby boy who was shot and injured in Yellowwood Street, that is in Bonteheuwel. We'll get you details on that story
And we are saying, let's begin the process of bringing in additional operators who can help us to meet the appetite.
Transport Minister Barbara Creecy has approved 11 private train operators to partner with Transnet on South Africa's rail network. The ad hoc committee set up to also investigate allegations of threats to national security made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is meeting to finalise the terms of reference, and John is here with sport.
Underpass score for the Proteas, but the bowlers are fighting back. Women's Rugby World Cup starts today, and it's semi-final weekend in the MTN 8.
Share your views on 41391. SMS are charged at R1.50. Call us 086 000 2032. Your voice notes, you can send them to 082 692 3909. Post your comments on X or Facebook at SABC News_radio. Use the hashtag Update at Noon. All these and more coming up. But first, Mohlahlana is on standby with the latest news.
Thank you, Bongi. On the top stories, hundreds of Gauteng schools oversubscribed and court denies bail to accused in a child abuse case. For SAFM News, I'm Ondelambana, and a very good day. Gauteng MEC for Education Matome Chilwane says hundreds of schools are oversubscribed. 277 primary and 221 secondary schools have received more applications than they can accommodate. Chilwane revealed this during a media briefing in Edenville, Gauteng this morning ahead of the closure of the application window on 29 August. Chilwane says to ease pressure, 19 new schools were opened between 2024 and 2025, bringing the total to 1,408 primary and 674 secondary schools.
We do have high pressure areas, and one thing the system does, it allows us to know where do we need additional classroom space, because it tells us where are the pressure areas, where do we get a number of applications that exceed the number of spaces available in the schools.
The bail application of one of the 4 accused in the case involving a 4-year-old being instructed to light and smoke a pipe believed to contain drugs has been denied. 3 of the accused, including the mother of the young boy, abandoned their bail application earlier. The 4 appeared in the Johannesburg Regional Court this morning. The case has been postponed to October. Presiding Magistrate Annalisa Tlhapi.
Applicant, if released on bail, will endanger the public safety and the safety of the others. Applicant may be a danger to other children out there, even posing a risk to them. Not only smoking the said drugs, but passing drugs to the child to smoke. As a result, these drugs may have caused harm to the child, his development, as well as his mental health.
The Department of Transport says it is hopeful that by December it would have cleared the current backlog of driving license cards. The department has a backlog of over 500,000 driving licenses that still need to be printed. Department spokesperson Colleen Msibi says since they fixed the printing machine in May, they have been able to print more than 800,000 driving license cards. Msibi says drivers who are still waiting for their license cards can use the receipt of their license renewal if they made the application before the current one expires.
Since the 8th of May until the 11th of August, we've been able to print up to 834,000 driver's license cards. But it leaves us with 539,000 backlog. And the reason is that while there's that backlog where the machine wasn't working, we still receive applications from motorists on a daily basis. I mean, on a daily basis, we get about more than 10,000 applications. So that is why the backlog, it's difficult for it to go down. But we've given ourselves a bit up until December to be able to complete the backlog.
Members of the pro-Palestinian boycott, disinvest and sanctions movement and the South Africa-Palestine movement have called on the government, specifically the Department of Trade and Industry, to stop coal exports from South Africa to Israel. Yesterday's protest outside the offices of Trade and Industry in Durban was supported by COSATU and the SACP. Lobby groups argue that the coal exports aid the Israeli Defense Force in targeting Palestinians. The organizer of the protest, Dr. Ludna Navi.
We are part of the national protest that is being organized by the BDS coalition. And our message basically is to the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, which basically, and we are saying to them that they need to stop the sale of coal from South Africa to Israel, because that coal is getting shipped from the Richards Bay and going through to Israel. So that's our main message. But also we want all trade between South Africa and Israel to stop. So the DTIC, as a government representative, it has the power to stop that trade.
Israel has continued its bombing of Gaza City overnight, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved plans to take over the city. The new assault would displace hundreds of thousands of people, the BBC's Yolande Neld reports.
The Israeli military is keeping up pressure on Gaza City. The UN says that recent relentless bombardment in the east and south has caused high numbers of civilian casualties and large-scale destruction. Now the Israeli military says it's told doctors and aid workers to start making evacuation arrangements ahead of its expanded military offensive. The announcement appears to amount to a rejection of the new ceasefire and hostage release proposal from regional mediators, which Hamas accepted. There are fears that the new military campaign in Gaza will deepen the humanitarian crisis.
Recapping the top story, Gauteng MEC for Education Matobe Chilwane says hundreds of schools are oversubscribed. 277 primary and 221 secondary schools have received more applications than they can accommodate. I am on Delambana for SFM News Headlines at 12:30.
You are listening to Bongiwe Zwane on The Weekend View.
Thank you very much, Ondela. We'll catch up with you at the bottom of the hour. Quite a disturbing story is breaking at this hour and unfolding. This is the 3-month-old baby who was shot and killed in Bonteheuwel in the Western Cape. Now, it's believed that 2 gunmen entered a home and fired at a female occupant. Now, the baby was rushed to hospital earlier on, and unfortunately, we do understand from some reports that the baby has passed. We'll be in conversation with the ward councillor in the area just to understand exactly what happened here and what is the latest with regards to, the shooting itself. Angus Mackenzie is the councillor there in that area, and we're hoping to be in conversation with him just to give us a sense of what exactly, took place here, because surely it's quite horrific. A 3-month-old baby boy, you can only imagine what the mom is going through and what that community is going through, and we're trying to understand the circumstances that would have led to this particular incident. Also tracking for you at this hour is the ad hoc committee that is set up to investigate the allegations of threats to national security that were made by the KZN Police Commissioner, that is General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and they're meeting today to finalize the terms of reference. A lot is coming out of that particular briefing already as far as the issues around the terms of reference are concerned. So we'll bring some analysis on just how Parliament is finding itself under the spotlight right now. And then there's also the issue around the seaters, right? And remember, the 3 seaters placed under administration by by the Minister of Higher Education, Buti Manamela. That has drawn some criticism from the Democratic Alliance, for example, and we will be in conversation with Karabo Khachau, who's the DA spokesperson, and she sits in that particular committee, and we'll also get to see if the committee is going to also be probing what is taking place here. We have reached out to the ministry to try also and speak to them. They've told us they're not available this week, so they'll possibly be available next week to comment on this particular matter. And also what we are tracking for you at this hour is a story in Orange Farm. We will be speaking to the police about the latest as far as that issue of the spaza shop and the torching of it is concerned. And remember, yesterday we were in conversation with Olani, who was telling us about the torching of his spaza shop, and he didn't understand why his convenience store was in fact torched. And so we'll get a sense from the police as to what exactly is going on there on the ground, and lots to talk about even around the online application system that is in Gauteng. Oversubscribed. It seems the schools are also having to struggle a little bit there. So we'll bring you these stories and more in the next hour.
The boardroom heat is on and the pressure is rising. The Insurance Apprentice, hosted by the one and only Babi Moloi, is delivering drama, tough decisions, and big personalities every week. Expect bold moves, emotional twists, and contestants you'll either root for or roast. And yes, you'll be surprised what you learn about insurance along the way. Open up to the Insurance Apprentice, Thursdays at 7 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
Keeping your Fun Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
What is Overtrail? Is it off the beaten path, over the edge of comfort, or the thrill of the road less taken? It's over every bridge, every obstacle, every trail, and over to that view that takes your breath away. Overtrail means going further, exploring deeper, surrounded by the comfort and sophistication of a luxury SUV. It's this spirit that inspired the Overtrail project. Experience Overtrail in the LX and GX range. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
All right, let's take you to that story, right? A 3-month-old baby boy, we understand, was shot during what appears to be a gang-related incident in Bonteheuwel in Cape Town. Now, the infant rushed to hospital earlier on after residents reacted quickly, but let's get your details, right, on this particular story. We do have Angus McKenzie, who's a ward councillor in Bonteheuwel in Cape Town. Mr. McKenzie, good day to you, and thank you so much for your time. A very disturbing story. What happened?
Absolutely, and good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. Around about 10 to 8 this morning, we started receiving reports of gang-related shooting in Yellowwood Street in Bonteheuwel. The shooting went on for a few minutes. We immediately responded with our law enforcement and Metro Police team. When they got onto the scene, they immediately picked up that a 3-month-old baby boy was shot. We transported that boy immediately to the nearest medical facility. In a quick investigation, we picked up that the boy was sort of in between the shooting of two rival gangs. The one alleged gangster was actually holding the 3-month-old baby when the other one shot on him. The child was transported. Our hospital staff worked exceptionally hard to try and save and resuscitate the little boy. Unfortunately, at the last minute, he crashed and unfortunately passed away, and that's where we are at the moment.
Sure. How's the family?
It's very, very difficult. I think whether the family is involved or related to why the incident took place is frankly irrelevant. It is the fact that a 3-month-old baby boy has now lost his life. And so the shock is not just felt by the family, but the shock is felt by that street, it's felt by the community, and it's felt even further now. And it really just is heartbreaking that our children are having to experience and suffer through gang violence and almost accept it to be norm, which it's not.
And when you look at what has taken place here, obviously, as you say, that it has in fact shocked the community and all of that. Let's speak about that particular street. Is it a quiet street? Is it a street that is used to gang violence? Paint a picture for us of what kind of area that is.
So this specific street, Bonteheuwel has really grown over the last few years and really pulled itself towards itself from a gang violence perspective. And so we've seen a massive reduction in gang-related murders in Bonteheuwel over the last few years. It's become a little island in between the rest of the Cape Flats. This specific street has two rival gangs that live in the same street. And these two rival gangs over the last few months have constantly been at each other's throat. And evidently the reason for being at each other's throat is for drug trade. It is to control the drug trade within that specific area. The problem that we're dealing with is that communities struggle to speak up. They struggle to highlight who these shooters are because the problem is that the South African police services fail to protect witnesses. And so people see on a daily basis how witnesses in various other crimes are shot and killed. And so you can well imagine that when people see a lack of protection for a whistleblower, they're not going to raise the alarm. And then what makes the situation even worse is that SAPS across the country, in effect, is dealing with such massive corruption and mismanagement that it plays itself out at a local level where police officers are under-resourced, they don't have vehicles, they aren't able to respond, their telephone lines aren't working. It's just one calamity after the next. And then to add insult to injury, ma'am, you have a criminal justice system that is failing communities on a daily basis because as law enforcement and Metro Police, and to a degree, SAPS arrest gangsters and criminals, because of a lack of investigation powers, because of a lack of intelligence, these people that are arrested are released back into those communities within 24 to 48 hours of being arrested. So it is really a difficult situation for communities at the moment. We must look at how we devolve policing powers to more capable forms of government because our communities are hamstrung and are struggling at the moment dealing with the impact of gang violence in them.
Councillor, thank you so much for your time. We'll keep tracking the story. Thank you for really just bringing us that update there. That was Angus McKenzie, a ward councillor in Bonteheuwel in Cape Town. This follows the tragic story of a 3-month-old baby boy who was shot and killed during what appears to be a gang-related incident. It took place in Yellowwood Street. Now, the baby was rushed to hospital in the morning, but unfortunately, they could not save his life. So we'll continue to bring you more on this particular story.
The Springboks return to the pitch in search of revenge. But the Wallabies want to continue where they left off last weekend. Which green and gold between the two nations will walk away victors? This is the Rugby Championship. Witness global class rugby action. South Africa versus Australia on Saturday, 23 August at 5:10 in the afternoon. Live on SABC radio stations. All SABC radio stations are also available on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front-of-package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by 30 September.
Bafana Bafana will host Nigeria in a FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Toyota Stadium on Tuesday, 9 September at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available nationwide and online from 70 Rand for adults and 40 Rand for children at all Ticket Pro outlets, including Spar, Postnet, and all petrol stations. Get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. Come in Bafana Bafana supporter gear, ready to sing for a win. Gates will open at 3 p.m. If you are not in Bloemfontein, catch the game on SABC2. For more information, visit safa.net and at Bafana Bafana on all social media channels.
Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
We'll take you to the story now. The Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters are turning up the heat on Higher Education and Training Minister Buti Manamela over appointment of 3 administrators to lead embattled sector education and training authorities, that's SETAs. They say the move reeks of cadre deployment and have warned that the appointments risk entrenching corruption and maladministration in these institutions that are already crippled by governance failures. Let's now speak to DAMP and National spokesperson Karabo Kakau, who's joining us. Karabo, good day to you and thank you so much for your time. So the last time when this was happening earlier on this week and you were raising concerns, you did say that you're going to speak to the chairperson of the committee that you sit in, that is the Higher Education Committee. Have you received any response? Is the minister coming?
Good afternoon, Osbongi. Good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you so much for having me. We received a response, yes, from the chairperson, Maubane. The chairperson said that he also wrote to the minister asking for why the SETAs are placed under administration. And then he further says because he hasn't gotten his response on why they are under administration, it is premature for the committee to discuss the appointments themselves. And so for me, there's a problem here because the chairperson's request for the ministers to explain to him why they are under administration is completely different from the request that the Democratic Alliance are making. Because the request of placing these SETAs under administrations does not nullify the reasons for an engagement with the minister. It does not nullify the request of the Democratic Alliance to engage with the National Skills Authority and Mr. Ngwane. And moreover, we have cases that we've seen in the past where committee agendas always serve with flexibility given committee member requests, as has been the case with previous such instances, such as the appointment of the SETA board chairpersons by former Minister Ngabane. In cases of calendar clashes, Osbongi, the committee has always written to Frolic's office, the chair of chairs, to request additional dates for committee deliberations, which he has granted us in the past. So there's nothing in the past, irrespective of responses from a minister or not, that has stopped Parliament from fulfilling its legislative duties. The legislative duties we're referring to here are referred to in Rules 227, subsection 1, subsection C of the National Assembly rules, which say that the Portfolio Committee must maintain oversight of the exercise within its portfolio of national executive authority, including the implementation of legislation and major laws. So the appointment of administrators is a direct exercise of such authority and therefore falls squarely within the oversight mandate of the committee.
So
the further